The bodies of 3 mine workers trapped in a metal container at Lilly Mine in Mpumalanga may never be recovered. Operations at the mine were suspended after the collapse in 2016. Lilly Mine and its sister mine, Barbrook, are currently in business rescue. The mine's parent company is currently in the middle of a sale to black-owned mining company SSC Group. But this has been held up by a standoff between the new buyers and the business rescue practitioner. For more on the future of the mine, we're joined by eNCA reporter Govan Whittles. Govan, before we get to the future of the mine, the 3 bodies, does it mean that these bodies will never, ever be recovered again? And what have these people said to the families? Or are they just, do they just have to accept that they may never see their loved ones again, even their bones?
Yeah, I think if you can remember, Bravio, the bodies of Solomon Nyerende, Priti Mabuza and Yvonne Mnisi were trapped after that unexpected collapse in 2016. And since then, there's been really widespread coverage about the attempts to recover their remains after those initial few months. And while in 2016, between the period of February and August after that collapse, we had intense updates as to how the search and rescue is going, exactly how far away they are from the container, what needed to be done to actually access the container and recover the bodies. Since then, we've had no information.
It almost felt like there was a point at which they said, look, going beyond this point is going to be dangerous for the rest of us. Yeah. We're leaving it here.
We're leaving it there, and then from that point, the company went into business rescue and their cash trouble increased. So since then, we haven't had any idea of if they would go back to look for the bodies, what would be needed if they had to do that. And now we have this sale to the Siakula Sonke Corporation, which is a black-owned firm which is hoping to take over the mine. But of course, they not only have to take over the mine to resume gold production, they also need to address the metal container which is still trapped underground. So the first thing that the new chief executive, Fred Arendse of SEC, is hoping to do is to see exactly whether or not it would be possible to recover that container.
But is there willingness to do
He's
that?
making it very clear that as things stands at the moment, he's not willing to say that they are able to do that. But I did speak to Fred Arendse earlier today. Let's have a look at what he said.
There's only one way to get back underground, and that is to sink a new decline, which we plan to do that next year. With regards to the container, I would like to share again what I've discussed on many occasions with the families, is that we can only take an informed view once the decline is sunk and we get underground and we do proper technical and safety assessment in respect of what is possible. Can we retrieve the container or can't we retrieve the container? And also to do that with the DMR, with all the stakeholders, including the family, once we get underground. And I've shared that openly, and I've made that commitment, to the family, because it will be a lie if we say that we will retrieve the container, because we have no idea of the technical and safety challenges, and we can only assess that once we get underground.
He's committed to doing it, he says, but lots of ifs and buts. But now, do they have the money to actually reopen the mine, and do they have a plan with that to actually,
take over the mine? I mean, that's the big question, Bravuyo, and that question comes into the context of maybe 5 other deals that have failed in terms of the takeover of Lilly Mine. So right now, we know that there's a standoff between the business rescue practitioner and SEC Group and the current owners, Vantage Goldfield. That's essentially because the people to whom Lilly Mine and Barbrook Mine owe money believe that the business rescue practitioner is not communicating effectively or saying enough about what actually needs to happen. But the business rescue practitioner himself needs some certainty in terms of money that will be available to reopen this mine. The Industrial Development Corporation, this is government money, has put in 190 million rand. That's a loan that they're willing to put up for the SEC Group to use to reopen the mine. But you can't reopen the mine based on loaned money only. You need to have a capital injection on your own, and that should range between 50 million and 80 million. And right now, the SEC Group is trying to raise that money, but things are tentative at this stage. I did speak to the business rescue practitioners as well. Let's have a look at what he said.
I thought, if I'm really the stumbling block to the rescue of this company, Well, I'm prepared to be replaced if that is what it takes to save the group and the jobs, and I agreed to that and applied certain conditions to that, and that is being addressed by the various parties.
But what is holding back the reopening of the mine?
I think we've been held up for a year now, and again, you know, the mine has been closed for Barbrook 2 years, just about, Lilly 3. There is a capital requirement to open the mine, and I think that is the stumbling block. Otherwise, we would have been opened, truly, you know.
Were you convinced? Did he give you that sort of sense of hope that he is actually for, you know, the reopening of this mine, but he's taking care of what needs to be taken care of?
One thing about this case, Vuyo, I've been following it since the collapse first happened, and I've spoken to Mr. Rob Devereaux through the different deals that have collapsed, and his concern has always been whether or not these companies that are promising to take over this mine actually have the capital to run the operations. And he's been very strict in making sure that these people are able to produce evidence of having raised this money before he gives the go-ahead for the next phase. But as you heard him say, that he believes that if the money was there, it would have been opened already. It's a matter of going back on site, replacing a transformer, rehiring the workers, and then making sure that they try to repair some of the stuff that's been broken over time.
Difficult to falter him on that. So we're going to leave it. Govan Whittles, who of course has been tracking that story for us.